Hello and welcome back to another video here in the LEGO room. I hope you are well. Today is a really fun video for me because it is sort of back to the roots of the channel in the very beginning, which was of course me theorizing about LEGO sets, why we have them, why maybe we don't have them, and things we could see in the future. And today I get to go up about just how good Andor Season 2 was, and it'll be a relatively spoiler-free zone for people. There will be of course listings of characters, figs, ships, things that I would like to see, but it will be done in a mostly spoiler-free way. A lot of these things you will have already potentially seen in promotional materials before, so yeah, we'll try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, but at the end of the day a lot of this stuff is already out there in mainstream media. And that being said, if you're an Andor fan or a LEGO Star Wars fan, do hit a like on the video before we get into it. It'll be sincerely appreciated, and if you are new here, please do consider subscribing as well. We'll have a ton of LEGO Star Wars stuff coming up in the very near future, including the set behind me when we go live at Comic-Con this Saturday. Let's get started with it, and let's go back to a couple of videos that I've done in the past prior to this about a couple of sets I would love to see, including Luthen's Hallcraft. I think this is more prevalent than ever. Luthen's Hallcraft. It would also give us the chance to see Claire as well, which is obviously something that I would really like to see, and I think I'm not alone in that now. Her role has become far more prevalent than it was in the first series, and we need to potentially see a minifigure of Claire at some point in the future. Could they hold off and do it as an anniversary fig in 2029? Potentially, but I do think it would be good to see her in something like Luthen's Hallcraft. I think this is now a more obvious suggestion than maybe it was when I did this video a year or so ago. I'll also reference the video, and I won't go completely into it because this is a video from about a month ago after the first sort of block of episodes, which is of course the TIE Avenger. We have to see this. I think a lot of these sets, figures and suggestions that you'll hear today as well are very much sort of structured around the idea that Andor isn't necessarily a show directly for kids. You're not going to see a 4+ Andor set. It's very much sets that will appeal to the A4 community, and sets that can be displayed, or sets that are sort of builds of ships that are quite sort of cool, and things that sort of people my age, above and below, will be potentially interested in buying. And I'm trying to structure it from the thought process of LEGO aren't going to make too many play scale small little sets for this type of show. That being said, I think the TIE Avenger would be a really good place to start. There is obviously a huge clamour. I myself have tons of different TIE ships, and I would certainly want to add an Avenger to that, particularly with an Andor figure that has that sort of orange and black uniform that we saw right at the very start of this show. Two more figures that I covered in a short video about a week or two ago when the U-Wing, I finally got it in hand. Think of any other ship in which you would be able to put these figures in. These are two figures that I would really like to see, but how would we potentially get these into sets? I think it is something that could be an anniversary figure, but I would certainly like to see them add these two figures to a lineup. Somebody I did see online do an Andor CMF series. Obviously that will not happen for obvious reasons to do with licensing and LEGO Star Wars minifigures, but I would certainly like to see those two characters where they would fit in. I'm not entirely sure. If you've got a suggestion for that, do leave it in the comments down below. It would certainly pique my interest. Moving on from that as well, I think there is one very obvious minifigure that is missing from the lineup that we've only really seen once before, but we would certainly love to see an upgraded version. And I know I'm not alone with this, and that is of course a Mon Mothma figure. She has certainly captured a lot of people's hearts, particularly with her Senate speech in Andor Season 2, and we definitely need an upgraded version of this minifigure. But how exactly would you do that? For me, and I'll sort of touch into this as we move further in the video, it revolves around the set. You can just see just above me there, which is of course the Yavin 4 playscale set from a year or two ago, and I would love to see some kind of Yavin expansion set set. That's certainly something I would like to see personally, something where you could build on the Yavin set that we've already got, but also add some of those minifigures, sort of like Bail Organa, like Mon Mothma, a couple of figures that we probably wouldn't see otherwise. I personally would be really interested in seeing that kind of set. Now, maybe you could see that in a ship build set, maybe a light blue X-Wing, something like that, something that would fit in with that time period of Andor Season 2 and the start of Rogue One. That's something I would like to see. I'm sure a lot of people would be in a similar camp to me. A lot of people probably don't want to see another X-Wing. We seem to have an X-Wing consistently on the market year after year, and of course already still have that UCS X-Wing available for us to purchase at the moment. So naturally, the next thing I'm going to talk about is getting another X-Wing, and an X-Wing that I would definitely like to see is Saul Guerrera's Partisan X-Wing, and this sort of black and white X-Wing variant that we see once or twice. I think this is super cool. I don't know if it's because it's Saul and Saul's such a cool character, or if it's just because the colour scheme looks really cool, or if indeed it's because I'm a die-hard Newcastle United fan. I want to see a black and white Saul Guerrera Partisan X-Wing. I think that would be really cool. That's something you can do in play scale form and not make it as expensive. You only really need a droid and a Saul Guerrera and maybe one of his rebels as well. I think that would be a real good set to do if we are going to continue to put X-Wings on the market, that is for sure. One thing that I've touched on before, and I really want to go back to it and drill back on this, is the B2 droid that we saw prevalently in Season 1, and again, of course, this season as well. I really think there is a market for this, not just as a minifigure. I think as a minifigure, it definitely needs to see some love, but I think as a buildable character, I think this is something that they could really tap into. The amount of fantastic droid buildable characters we've seen over the last couple of years has really increased. The blend now between Brick and Technic has really started to allow for some really cool droid builds and some really unique shape molds as well. And I always go back to that Droidica from last year, of how they managed to sort of make the Technic sets of the early 2000s look really good. And I would love to see, whilst it probably doesn't need a whole lot of Technic, what I'd really like to see is a buildable B2 droid, something that would go alongside the R2-D2, the C-3PO, the K2SO, of course, that we're getting in a month or two's time. I think a buildable B2 is definitely on my wish list. And of course, it fills the criteria that I was speaking about before, which is, of course, adult-themed sets and buildable structure display sets. And that is something that I think they definitely could do. And I would certainly imagine, given that we've had a DO and a BD droid and some of those slightly sort of less well-known droids, I certainly think it's definitely possible, and I would certainly be all for that. So that is it for today. I'm not going to do any more sort of ideas for sets today because it will probably tread along the lines of spoilers. As this video goes live, the show will have only been completed for about a week, and it will give people a chance to watch it and have their own ideas about what they want to see for Lego Star Wars and Andor. But I think there is one thing for sure, which is we're going to get more Lego Star Wars Andor sets as we move forward. There is no way they're not going to make any more Lego Star Wars Andor sets. This show has been received the best unanimously of any Star Wars show in the history of Disney owning Star Wars and Disney Plus era. This show has knocked it out of the park, I think it's fair to say, and anybody who is skeptical or on the fence, I would certainly encourage to go and watch this show. If you've enjoyed Andor, do drop a comment in the comment section below, and if there's something you want to see as well, do drop a comment there as well. Try and keep it as spoiler free as possible, just for those that haven't maybe watched. And if you haven't watched, don't go to the comments potentially, just so you don't get spoiled. Thank you so much for watching. It's sincerely appreciated. Make sure you go and check out the video where I talk all about the set behind me and the fact that we're going to Comic-Con this weekend for Whatnot, MCM Comic-Con in London. Saturday night, we are doing a clone army building event. Take care, and I will see you in the very next video. Bye.